It does, yeah. Yeah, that won't come out probably until, I mean, some of those they haven't even surveyed yet.
Yeah, that's true. Like Etowah County.
Yep. How's it going, guys?
Hello.
Happy Monday on a very, I'd say, tranquil,
Very
nice, cool
Blue
Monday.
sky in full effect.
I like
It's
it.
nice.
After a very long weekend for sure. Nate Harrington, Griffin Hardy, joining you this morning on a Monday. Happy Monday, and things are much better around here. So we've got the storm reports that are up here, and you can see the preliminary reports that we got. We actually had one confirmed tornado, an EF0 in Shelby County. The National Weather Service will be looking at the other red marks that you see on your map here. There's several other. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
There's several other. There's several other Michelles. There's several other tornadoes. There's only one Michelle. There's several other tornadoes that they'll be looking for damage, consistent with tornadoes coming up later today. So we'll have a good idea of the strength and number of tornadoes that we had in central Alabama. Thank goodness, though, the damage was minimal.
Yes.
No one was hurt that we know of, so that's obviously some good news.
Kind of limited to just trees and power lines, which luckily is much better than what it could have been. You know, we could have had homes destroyed, businesses destroyed. Apparently, it doesn't really seem to be that's the case. But
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that we had a tornado report in southeastern Tuscaloosa County, because when we were tracking that at roughly 2:30 in the morning, some of these had debris signatures with
Yeah,
them,
for sure.
and that was one of them. One of them in eastern Tuscaloosa County. But we'll have to wait and see about as more of those surveys come in. I think according to the National Weather Service, the most latest team is going up to Etowah County.
Okay.
Gadsden. Check out the area for damage.
All right. So the survey teams will be out there checking out that for today. So we'll of course have all the details for you coming up later on the CBS 42 news at 5, 6, and 10. So with Ashley again. So we did want to talk to you though about the unfortunate severe weather threat for the upcoming week. I want to show you this though. This is what we're talking about. I love it. Love
Fantastic.
it. Temperatures will run some 10 degrees below average today. Highs will only get into the upper 60s, low 70s, but very comfortable. Go out and enjoy what you have for today. So let's talk about what we could see for later in the week. So it's a similar kind of setup in that we've got an upper level trough, we've got a cold front that'll be moving in that will be the trigger for the showers and storms and possibly the severe weather that we see. But the devil is in the details as far as the timing and some of the upper level support and some of the other scenarios that could go into our severe weather chances on Thursday. I did want to step through real quick and show you the fact that folks off to our west once again look like they'll get it first, and then storms kind of move into central Alabama. Note the time. Unfortunately, it looks like another late night overnight event.
Yeah, and it's always problematic. It's going to be one of those weeks where we have to emphasize that people have no weather radios, because those will need to wake you up in the event of warnings. And the timing is very similar to this weekend. As of right now, it appears very similar to this weekend. It can fluctuate a little bit, obviously. You know, as we move closer, it could speed up a little bit by a few hours, slow down. But I mean, there's the good news and bad news. There's good news and bad news. Good news is when it's an overnight event, the overall intensity isn't as strong as it could be because you don't have daytime heating. But the bad news is everybody's sleeping.
Yep.
So you don't have really people paying attention as well as they would be during the day.
Yeah. So this is just the 4 days out model solution that they're going with right now. So you see storms probably into West Alabama by 8 to 9 o'clock, moving through the central part of the state by midnight, and then into East Alabama by 3 to 4 a.m. So not exactly the time frame we had on Saturday, but maybe 3 or 4 hours sooner for a start time. We don't know yet. That's the main thing. There's still a lot of uncertainty with the timing. There's still a lot of uncertainty with the upper level support. The big trough of low pressure, not only at the surface, but in the upper levels of the atmosphere that aid in storm development, that also aid in the shear, how much shear is in the atmosphere. All those parameters look to be a little different than the event that we had on Saturday, right? At least right now. Those could change and fall a little bit farther in line with what we had Saturday, be kind of a tornado potential. But we were actually talking right before the Facebook Live that this is looking like possibly more of a wind event than a
Yes.
tornado event.
Yes. Regardless of whether or not we see spin-up tornadoes, straight-line winds are obviously a big problem, considering how many trees there are in Alabama. And one thing I wanted to comment on, one of the more difficult things of forecasting is this is the best, well, not the, I won't say the best, but the highest resolution model that we can show, given how far out from the event that we are. And that's why we can't really dive into the details that well. We just have to wait on the higher resolution model guys to come in before we can say, okay, we can narrow out that it's going to be at this time frame. We can narrow out that it's going to be a hail event. Then we can get more specific. But for now, the best we can do is say, on a larger scale, the ingredients are there for more severe storms.
Yeah, so normally we'll show 2 or 3 days, or 2 days out especially, 1 or 2 days out, you'll be able to see individual thunderstorms form on a computer model. And that's what we'll show you. We'll show you once we get to that event, this is what the storms could look like, the shape of the line, if there is a line of storms that move in, where the supercells might form out ahead of that line. Right now, we have green and yellow blobs to show you.
It's pretty blobby.
It's pretty blobby. That means blobs equal uncertainty, okay?
Yes,
so take this with a grain of salt, but last week, 4 days out, we pretty much nailed what was going to happen as far as the intensity of the storms, as far as the timing. The timing of this last event on Saturday and early Sunday was impeccable. I mean, the models nailed it. So we're not saying that's going to happen this time, but what we're saying is things look like they could line up once again to see another severe weather event here for central Alabama. So let's talk about the risks. And there's already an enhanced risk of storms for our friends west of us. Okay, so this is East Texas, parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana under that slight risk, but really that's the bullseye right here for East Texas and Central Texas. Okay, and then the area of concern for the Storm Prediction Center for us is going to be on Thursday, and you see that it's a pretty big area. Okay,
because of exactly what we talked about.
it's a huge area. Okay, we're talking
the uncertainty of it.
So we're talking from the Gulf Coast all the way up to southern Illinois, Indiana. It's a huge area, and it's not because there's 50 million people in the path of these, strong, severe thunderstorms.
Contrary to what you might hear sometimes.
Contrary to what you might hear other places.
Yeah.
It's the fact that things can change so much in a short amount of time that they're enveloping a very broad area to say, hey, look, everybody in this area, you could have a chance for severe storms come Thursday. We want to get the message out. We want to get everyone looking ahead to the future. But most likely, by tomorrow, this area will be a lot more confined and shrunk down to basically the best possible guess for the National Weather or for the Storm Prediction Center come tomorrow for the severe storm chances.
Right. They'll shrink it down as you get closer to the event. We're pretty confident. I would say at this point we're probably most confident in the timing.
Yes.
And one thing that's difficult in forecasting is often timing determines the intensity of the storms.
100%.
And that is why you just have to wait and see for the higher resolution model events to come in. And I would say the late Thursday, early Friday appears to be in the ballpark of what we're looking at.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if that were to happen, obviously you'd see a little bit more energetic storms, possibly some more coverage of the storms earlier in the day, around that time frame where it moved into West Alabama. If you can remember last week, the storms in Mississippi, they still happened at night, but they happened at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, okay? So that was a question we actually got. It's at night, though, so the storms won't be as bad. Well, yeah, but you still have a lot of residual unstable air hanging out. You still have some heating from the day still hanging out. It's after midnight. I like to say storms are a better likelihood, could be stronger, could be more expansive in the PM hours than the AM hours.
Yes.
Until you get to, say, 10, 11 o'clock AM, and that's when things could
That's a
obviously
good way
explode.
of putting it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, so
Anything before midnight.
So we'll be watching it very closely, obviously, for the next few days. We don't want to hype anything up and scare everybody to death once again, but this is looking like another very classic mid-April, mid-spring type of severe weather setup where we could see damaging winds and possibly some tornadoes. It's all going to depend, like Griffin said, on the timing. So what we want you to do, obviously, stay alert. We'll have plenty of warning ahead of time on this. We'll let you know the when, the where, the how, and the what of the severe weather event as we get closer, obviously, and just stay informed. Just stay informed. We'll have everything you need to stay to stay ready, to stay weather aware. If you need to make some preparations for Thursday.
Yep, it's that time of year. You all know the drill at this point. Just like what we did this weekend. I mean, I was really pleased to see how many people took advantage of the storm shelter.
Yes,
that was really a good sight to see.
That was great.
They were packed. It was packed.
So Robert Sherman, who's one of our reporters, went to Vance. Obviously, it'd be he wasn't in Tuscaloosa. He was in Vance. It's a rural area, and he said
they were at
200 people in that storm shelter, and those storm shelters are only built to hold 100 people comfortably, but they had them packed in, so it was really good to see people heeding the watches, heeding the warnings. Once that tornado warning happened, they were in there. They were locked up, and there was 200 people in there, so it was really good to see.
And there's nothing more satisfying as meteorologists
Yes.
to know that people are paying attention and that they're aware.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, guys. So stay attuned to the forecast as we get closer to Thursday. We'll have a lot of different information here coming out for you as we get closer to that date. So everybody, have a great rest of your Monday. Take care, and we'll see you later.
Enjoy the sunshine.